Hello very much. My name is Calico. You are listening to Morning Sun Over Jupiter by Dense Blazing Star. I listen to the ambient music that I play in the background of my videos while I make and record my videos, and so I already know what you're going to be listening to, and I hope you enjoy it. I say my videos plural because I recorded like two other videos that I haven't put out yet because there was something that I needed to edit out of them. Like nothing bad, just like audio stuff. I accidentally turned my gain way too high, and so you could hear everything. So hopefully I fixed that now. I still want to keep these very chill, very laid back, very effortless, but I think I said some pretty worthwhile things in those videos that I still want to release, maybe, but I'm also really, really lazy and I don't want to go through in DaVinci and have to fix it all because I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. I don't really know how to edit in the first place, so my like bare minimum knowledge is like cuts, so I'll figure that out. Anyways, I had various topics that I wanted to talk about today. I write all of my ideas down on a post-it note, but I'm not actually going to talk about any of them today. We're going to talk about how I feel about these topics. I don't know, in a roundabout way. I'm just going to talk about, I guess, sort of nuance and the fear that I have of like being misunderstood. And this is probably like a pretty personal thing. I don't know if anyone listening would be able to relate to this, but this is just how I feel when I talk. While I was recording those two videos that I mentioned, and also the video that I put out before, and maybe I've been doing this even in like real life and stuff, but what I noticed what I was saying very often was the words like, oh, and obviously I don't mean this, or, oh, this can be true as well. And I feel like it comes out of a place of, like I said, the fear of being misunderstood, to where, I feel so scared to share my thoughts or my opinions on something because the way that the internet has kind of conditioned me to feel in a way, to where if I share any kind of like maybe debatable topic, like my opinion on a debatable topic, then it will inevitably be debated rather than just existing in a vacuum. And it's like, hold on, I need to write something down. I just came up with another idea. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to get better about like writing things down as soon as I think of them, because that way I don't lose the ideas as much, because often I'm like, oh, I'll remember that later, and then obviously I don't. Anyways, I think I'm just so like nervous of being misconstrued, of like being misunderstood or misinterpreted. That's a lot of misses. Of like whenever I share my opinion on something, to where I feel like I need to cover all my bases before I move on to my next point, to where like if I say, it kind of goes down to like the pancakes and waffles thing, where it's like, I know it's stupid, but it's true. It's like, oh, I like waffles. Oh, so you hate pancakes? It's just that fear of like being met with hostility towards something that like I didn't even say or I didn't even mean. And again, and I'm sure I'm going to keep doing it, maybe even in this video, but it's like I feel like I can't just say something. I feel like I need to preface it over and over again with like a lot of different like cushioning statements, to the point where it almost even like negates my structure in the first place of why I'm even talking about it, or any kind of like thought that could have gone into that, because I feel like that fear is so instilled in me, into where I don't want to face possible like argument. I just kind of want to say something and then I regret saying it immediately, just because I'm scared of that, like what's the word? I'm finding it. Like resistance, I think? No, that's not it. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know if that's something that maybe other people can relate to, or maybe that's just a me thing. But it's not a good feeling. Because it's like, I don't know. And I feel like I even do it with people that I inherently don't agree with. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine about ChatGPT, GPT. I don't know which one it is. But I was talking to my friend about that, and she uses it, and I don't. I if you know me at all, I'm like #1 AI hate club member. And it's like, you know, even though I feel so strongly about this subject, I like to think that I'm very educated on it. I do a lot of research and try to stay up to date with things, especially in the ways that they can affect me or my career as I want to go into more creative fields. And so, you know, even how passionate I feel about it, trying to explain my thoughts towards this person that I value my friendship with, to where it's like, you know, oh, I don't like ChatGPT, but, you know, AI can, you know, be good for some people. Or, you know, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know that I wasn't agreeing with what I was saying. And so I feel like there are some instances where maybe you kind of just need to let things go. But I feel like in other instances, when it's maybe more political or inherently like a moral or ethical standpoint, I just don't know why I'm so scared to share my opinion on it when it could maybe be met with like disagreement. And I think it just comes out of a place of like, you know, I don't want to like damage the relationships that I've built with like maybe something that I say, even if I do agree with it, because I'm just very scared of like offending somebody in like an unintentional way, or even like saying something that somebody doesn't agree with and then they go talk to somebody else about it. Like that's also a big fear of mine. I feel like I just always want to be maybe understood, or like understood the way that I want to be understood, I think. And that's not necessarily fair, because I can't make people think things about me just based on how I want them to think about me, you know, like how I come across to people. That's just how they're going to think of me, and I can't do anything really to change that. But I think I just, you know, not to self-aggrandize or anything, but I like to think that I'm a good person, that I'm kind, and so I always try to be kind to people. And so I think when there's even like the slightest hint of maybe an argument forming, I get like really nervous about it, which is why I think I was talking about this in my other video that I made on Twitter that I haven't released yet, and I don't know if I will, so I'll just bring it up again, but I don't respond to anything that I disagree with, or like any kind of negative anything, because I don't want to invite that sort of negativity or argument into like kind of my online space. I just choose not to interact with that kind of stuff, even if, you know, like I don't think anyone's like immune to being upset by things on the internet, but I think it's just it's how we choose to respond to them. So like, oh, this is a perfect example. Okay. In this unreleased video, I remember I was talking about this sort of issue to where like, you know, oh, if I see something negative online, I'm just not going to respond to it. And then I followed it up with the caveat, well, you know, if it's like political or if it's ethical, like maybe that's like an okay exception or whatever. Like because I very much believe in, you know, speaking up and standing up for what you believe in. And I just, I go back and forth on that so much to where it's like, and for clarity's sake, I go back and forth on how I feel about responding to things on the internet, because in the end, I feel like a lot of it just has to do with attention. Usually someone is just wanting that online attention and like the rage bait of it. And so I think it just matters on how you let it affect you personally. I think whether or not you choose to respond to it, you know, doesn't necessarily dictate who you are as a person or your character or even like your moral standing, but it's just how you choose to let it affect you in your personal life, like in your daily life. Like if maybe you have like a mutual online or something and they say something like, oh, I really don't like this movie, and that's like your favorite movie, I don't think that's worth cutting them off and like, you know, making like a whole thing and blocking them and whatever. You know what, maybe I'll just say the good parts about the other video and then I just won't put it out. Because I don't know, I feel like I rambled a lot in that one. I was very tired. I was laying down while I was recording it. So another thing that I was talking about was where oh my gosh, I can't remember. Oh yes, I was talking about, you know, like I said, the example with the movie. If somebody you follow or you talk to or you're friends with maybe doesn't share the same interests or opinion as you, I feel like that's not necessarily worth like a block or like ignoring them or unfollowing them or anything, because there could be so many other things that you and that person have in common, and maybe that's just like one difference that you have. I feel like difference in opinion is maybe what can foster some of the best conversations, to where it's like, you know, oh, I look at this one way and you look at it this way, and I think it's fun to compare those two. I'm not talking politics. I just more mean like, how do you feel about like a movie or whatever, or like an album? I think music is a great venue for that kind of conversation because everyone's music taste is different. I just think that, you know, kind of, that's why I'm not a huge fan of things like Stan Twitter. I just personally can't see the interest for me personally, and I'm not going to try and like caveat this statement, but for me personally, I just don't see the interest in like kind of going to war for somebody that you really don't know. Like, I have people that obviously I'm fans of, that I like a lot, and that if somebody didn't like them or whatever, didn't like them for, oh, I'm gonna write that down as well. I have another thing that I want to talk about. Sorry for all the little pauses and stuff. I just want to keep this as most like a conversation as possible. I don't think it's very authentic to cut out all of like kind of the dull moments, because I mean, when you're in a conversation, you can't edit that out. So sometimes I will just take a second to gather my thoughts, and I hope that's okay with you, the viewer, who I probably know the name of. I know who's watching this right now. I see you. But what I was gonna say, I don't even remember actually. I'm just gonna move on into kind of the other things that I wanted to talk about. And I guess this will kind of be a good segue to where it's like, I used to feel this way about certain things, about certain movies or media or whatever that people liked. And this might be a hot take, but I think it's actually really stupid. No, that's too strong of a word. I think it's maybe a little immature to not like things for no reason. And I was thinking about that because of what I was saying about, you know, music and stuff and people talking about things. I think, okay, so the way that my opinion has changed on this over the years is there were things, and I'll use, it's kind of funny, but Oh, I always forget about this thing. I need to figure out how to turn this off. I was thinking about this with the Amazing Digital Circus, funnily enough. Years ago when the first episode came out, I watched it and I thought it was fine. Like, I thought it was good. I liked it even. But just seeing like how popular it got just on the pilot episode of where it's like, you know, it has all like so many fans and merch and like it just felt so soon for like what was essentially like a 20-minute short or like a short film almost. And so again, like I said, I liked it, but I just didn't get how it had so much backing right off the start. And I kind of didn't like it for a minute. And I'm still not the biggest fan of it. Like, I mean, I've watched the episodes as they've come out just because I watched the first one when it came out. So I'm like, you know, I might as well see it through because I do think it's a good concept. And I actually really like some of it. Actually is really funny. I think it's actually a really well-written show. And I don't know if that's cringe to admit, but honestly, I really don't care. I think it's fine. But anyways, you know, I really didn't like it, and I really didn't have a reason to not like it. I just wasn't liking it because it was popular, and I think that's really lame. I think not liking things because they're popular is like, I don't know. I can get maybe oversaturation, like K-pop Demon Hunters, another example. I know these are both horribly like kind of childish examples. Please, I really only watch horror movies. Don't think that I only watch, you know, stuff like this. But when I watched K-pop Demon Hunters around the same time when it came out, I really liked it. I thought it was really good. And all the people kind of like dragging it down. This is when I was kind of like changing my perspective on things. People were dragging it because it was getting popular with like kids and stuff. And obviously, you know, it's a kids movie. God forbid kids like things made for kids. And so I liked it, and I still do. I still thought it was. I haven't rewatched it or anything, but I really like the soundtrack for the movie. I think it's a really good soundtrack. But what I'm talking about with like kind of the not liking it because of oversaturation, I have heard Golden maybe more than any other song in my life, and I'm really tired of it. I really don't want to hear Golden for like years now, please. So I think those two things are different, to where both of those things I started off initially liking them, but it's the different ways that they like impacted my life. For Amazing Digital Circus, really not at all. People just liked it and were talking about it. And for K-pop Demon Hunters, it was because I had that constant exposure to it. I was like, okay, I'm a little tired of it. So I feel like that's where the difference kind of comes in. But I feel like if you don't know anything about something, to where it's like, you know, you have maybe never watched K-pop Demon Hunters or never watched The Amazing Digital Circus, and you go on Twitter or whatever and you're like, I hate K-pop Demon Hunters, or I hate The Amazing Digital Circus, and you don't know anything about it. So how could you say that you hate it? It's like, again, I just don't think that it's maybe really that cool to dislike things because they're popular or because people are like currently doing them. I just think that maybe you can try and engage with it a little bit, and if it doesn't interest you, then that's totally fine. Even you don't even have to engage with it. Maybe you see The Amazing Digital Circus and you're like, oh, this isn't for me. But you don't have to like bash it for other people because, again, you don't know anything about it. So it's like, and again, I'm trying not to do the thing like I talked about earlier where I'm like, oh, but you know, and here's an exception, but because this is something that like I truly do think is that it's like, I just don't get where people are so quick to be negative about something or so quick to voice their opinion about something. And even then, when it's like, when it comes to my interactions with my friends and stuff, sometimes, like I was talking about earlier, me and my friends have different interests because we're different people. We have things that we have in common, but we have things that we also don't have in common. And so, you know, like one of my friends, for example, really, really likes Vocaloid. and I'm just not super into it. I think it's neat, but it's not something that I could see myself getting into. However, they're very passionate about it, and so I'm still going to engage with it. I will still show interest. If they tell me to listen to something or they want to show me a music video, I will still try my best to engage with it to an appropriate extent to where I'm kind of supporting their interest. Even if it doesn't interest me, I feel like that's maybe the magic of friendships, is that you kind of do things together. And so, I'm not saying that you have to listen to every song that your friend likes ever, but if your friend really likes a band, maybe listen to an album, or if your friend likes a movie, maybe just try and watch it, even if it's not really your thing. I think that there is something that I've noticed, especially with the relationships in my life, is that people really, really like to feel seen or noticed when it comes to their interests. And so I've been really, really getting into Jane Remover recently. And so one of the mutuals that I met through Twitter really, really likes Jane Remover. And that's kind of how we bonded, is because I was listening to Venturing. And so I listened to Revenge Seekers, and I really didn't vibe with it that much the first couple songs that I heard. And then I listened to Census, and I still didn't really vibe with it that much. But I kept listening to it and kept engaging with it. And even when I told my friend that, I maybe really didn't like Census all that much on my first listen, they still really, really appreciated that I took my time to listen to something like that, or to do that in the first place. And so I think people just really like to feel appreciated, to where it's like, even if you don't really care about something that much, I still think it's nice to maybe take at least just a minute to try and understand something that someone you cares about, oh my gosh. I think it's important to take a minute to understand something that someone you cares about. I hope I articulated that correctly. I just think and especially too, if maybe, oh, and by the way, about Jane Remover, my opinion has totally changed. I love Census. I love Revenge Seekers. Ghost Holding is maybe in my top 5 albums of all time. The Heart EP is maybe the greatest thing ever. I really like Jane Remover now. And see, that's the magic of it, is I engaged with it. I really didn't think I would like it at first, and then now I love it. And, that's not going to happen every time, of course. We can't all be winners, but I still think it's important to try, because you never know what you might end up liking. You can always surprise yourself, is the kind of fun of it. Is like I said, I never thought that I would like Jane Remover, just based on what I had heard and what I knew going into it. But listening to Ghost Holding and the Heart EP, etc., it really changed my perspective in a lot of different ways. And it especially made my friend feel appreciated that I listened to it. And, there have been other suggestions that this friend has made me that maybe I didn't vibe with so much, but I still tried to listen to it and engage with it, because again, this person is really nice to me and really kind to me and engages with things that I like, so I'm going to reciprocate that almost. And especially too, where I kind of stand on this as well, is I really don't like when people are so quick to voice their distaste for something as well. That's something that I've had an issue with, with one of my friends personally, IRL recently, where it's anytime I try to engage with them about something that I really like, and I show it to them, within maybe even a couple of seconds, they kind of shut it down and go, oh, I don't really like that, or I don't want to listen to this, or whatever. And if they told me maybe in a different way, where it's oh, this really isn't my thing, or oh, can we listen to something else, I wouldn't be maybe as bothered. But it's just I don't know, I'm kind of mixed on this, because I said, of course people are going to have different tastes, not everyone's going to like the same things, but I feel maybe I'm not sure where I stand on this exactly, because it's I just don't like how negative people can be initially, or apprehensive maybe to certain things, I guess. Yeah, maybe apprehensive, I think that's the word I'm looking for, to where it's like even just the thought of trying something different or listening to something different maybe makes certain people feel repulsed, I guess, in a way, or overwhelmed. And I was like that for a long time as well. Like, I really wouldn't stray out of a lot of the genres that I'm into, but I've really broadened my horizons and stuff, and I've found some of my favorite artists from genres that I really didn't think I would like before. And I'm trying to do that with movies as well. Like I said earlier, I was kind of ashamed talking about Digital Circus and K-pop Demon Hunters because they're more kind of like kiddish, I guess, and they're like animated movies or animated projects. And really, I only watch horror movies, and so I really do enjoy to some extent both of those things. And maybe there are other things out there that I would like that if I just kind of open my eyes a little bit, I would enjoy. But because I'm in my horror bubble, it's like I'm kind of not engaging with other pieces of media like that or other genres that, maybe my favorite movie of all time isn't even a horror movie. I just have no idea because I haven't been willing to try. But as I kind of, grow and I develop this mindset that I'm talking about right now, I'm more willing to try. And, even if I'm kind of at first like apprehensive to it, because I really don't like comedies. I really don't like comedy movies. They just don't interest me that much. They bore me. I think of comedy and horror in the same way, to where it's like not everything will scare every single person, and so not everything will make every person laugh. But for horror, like a failed jump scare that I can see coming feels less atrocious than maybe like a joke that doesn't land and then is like offensive, and then I'm just like, oh, ew, and then it kind of like throws off my vibe for the rest of the movie. I don't know. But again, like I said, I wouldn't really have any knowledge about how I feel about this because I've never tried. I've never really sat down and watched a comedy on my own and been like, oh, I'm gonna watch this now. I haven't engaged with that on a more like sensitive, I guess, viewpoint, just because I haven't been willing to up until now. And I don't know. There are just so many things out there. There's so many pieces of art. You can't listen to every album, watch every movie, watch every show in existence before we all die, inevitably. But you can still make an effort to maybe broaden your horizons a little bit, and I think that's important. I think maybe it's just important to engage with different things differently. I think maybe if someone says something bad about your favorite movie, it's not the end of the world, because my favorite movie is Longlegs, and people only have bad things to say about that movie. And I don't know, I just think it's important to maybe treat things with a little more delicacy sometimes, because maybe something that you really hate is someone else's favorite thing. And I would make a joke about that and be like, oh, except for this thing that I really dislike, then that's the only exception. But it's not, Actually, no, there isn't. I think there are things that are obviously maybe objectively bad, but people can still enjoy things that are objectively bad. I don't know, that's the magic of art, is that people can enjoy things differently. People have different interpretations of stuff. And so different things matter differently to different people. I said the word different too many times. Anyways, I feel like maybe I'm rambling a little bit, so I'm going to try and cut it short here, I think. I have other topics that I want to talk about as well on my sticky note, but they are not in the same vein or context of what I'm talking about now, so I will save those for a different video. I will either record one of these right now, or I will not, because I'm tired. Anyways, I hope you kind of resonate maybe a little bit with what I'm saying, and if you disagree with me, I would like to hear an alternate viewpoint as well. I just think maybe my main takeaway from this video is try and engage with things with a little bit more delicacy. If somebody shows you something and you don't like it, maybe don't immediately say you don't like it. Oh my gosh, leave me alone. Maybe immediately, like, don't... what was I saying? Gosh, I hate that thing so much. Every time I'm talking, it, like, distracts me so bad. I'm just gonna start over with what I was saying. My main takeaway from this video is maybe approach things with a little bit more delicacy. Maybe if you are approached with something that you think inherently that you would not like, instead of saying, oh, I don't like this, maybe try it. Unless it's food and you're allergic, then don't try that. I'm not liable. Oh, yeah. Maybe I'll talk about that really quick as well, just because it's on the subject. Especially with food. I was a really picky eater when I was a kid, and so I really wouldn't eat anything outside of, like, you know, the norm of, like, chicken nuggets and mac and cheese and shit like that. And as I grew older, maybe when I was like 13 or whatever, I started, like, trying to eat better and finding other things that I liked and stuff. And now a lot of the foods that maybe I would only eat when I was a kid, like, I won't even touch anymore. Like, you could not pay me to eat a corn dog. The idea of that sounds fucking disgusting. Just because, like, that was what I would eat a lot when I was a kid. And I'm just happy with myself in the way that I engage with music and food specifically, to where I'm more open to trying new things that maybe I thought I wouldn't like before. I like trying new sauces and toppings and seasonings, and even just new dishes altogether. Like, I tried eggplant parmesan for the first time, like, a couple weeks ago, and I had never tried eggplant before, but holy shit, that was the best meal of my life. That was so good. I had never tried it before, just because, like, you know, I don't think little kids really want to try eggplant all that bad. I'm not, like, screaming to try it, but I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic meal. And so, you know, like I said earlier, you never know what you might end up enjoying. Just because you might think you might not like something doesn't mean you actually don't like it. That doesn't mean that you have to like it. You can still not like things, but I think it's always worth giving something a shot. Even if maybe you're not interested in it at first, and that's okay. I just think it's important to also set boundaries as well. You know, you obviously don't need to take every suggestion and do everything that I'm saying. You don't need to live your life exactly how I want to. You can choose where you stand on, like, what you want to try differently or whatever. I just think it's important to try different things because you never know what could happen. Yay. So thesis statement, try new things. It's fun. And also be nicer to each other. And also Jane River is really good. And I think that's all I have to say. So I'm going to end the video now. I hope you have enjoyed listening to this track. Again, it was Morning Sun Over Jupiter by Dense Blazing Star. And I will have more ambient music for you in my next video. Hopefully, if I make another one of these and I don't die. Yay! Okay, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.